Welcome to the Tulipmania Art Podcast. The story of the tulip name. Lale, the name the tulip originally bore in its homeland, Persia, was defining it as flower of God. It had a sacred significance since it was an anagram of the name of God, its Arabic spelling coinciding with the letters forming the name of Allah. It explains to a great extent the veneration and love bestowed upon the tulip not only by the Persians, but also by the Turks, with whom the flower traveled to the Seljuk Empire, where it settled in to flourish later into a real frenzy in Ottoman times. In the Turkish language, the tulip preserved the roots of its Persian name, being called Lale. How come then that the name tulip came into being? Well, newly arrived to Europe in the second half of the 16th century, the tulip was initially addressed with different names, from red lily to Lilio narcissus, until it was first mentioned as tulipam in a 1554 letter of Ogier Ghislain de Busbecq, the Austrian ambassador to the Ottoman Empire. The story has it that seeing the flowers for the first time while traveling along blooming tulip fields, the diplomat stopped to have a closer look at the exotic flowers and to discover their name. The workers in the field were wearing turbans, which they decorated with tulip blooms. So when the ambassador pointed to the head of a worker asking what it was, the interpreter answered tuliband, meaning the headdress and not the flower jutting out of the turban folds. This is how an unexpected confusion made out of the Turkish lale a tulip. After being mentioned by Ogier Ghislain de Busbecq in the diplomatic correspondence, the name tulipam started being officially used for the flower. It was then transformed into the scientific Latin tulipa and then reached us as tulip in the English language. Curious enough, almost all the international names of the tulip can roughly be divided into two large groups, depending on the way the flower reached a specific country. In those lands where the tulip was a European guest, it unfailingly preserves the tulipam root in the word structure, whereas in the countries where the tulip first arrived by the Ottoman or Persian route, its name retains the origin of the divine Lale. This podcast is designed to give you a foretaste of our tulip book, and if you like our tulip facts and are interested to find out more, please go to our webpage www.tulipmania.art and subscribe to get notified when the book will be launched.